integrated marketing communications is one of the very most important functions of marketing in an organization. Think about it. Every time a message is delivered by a brand, a product, an organization, or even a person, there is an image that is cemented in the mind of that consumer. And that consumer creates a perception about that brand and that interaction. So this particular video is designed to introduce you to the signature project that you'll be working on in digital marketing communications throughout the semester. Congratulations, you just became a marketing consultant. So I want to take a minute to talk about the tasks that you are going to be doing. So we start off with finding a real world company that could benefit from a marketing communications plan. So you could certainly use a company that you work for today, or reach out to a local company or a national company and ask them if it would be okay for you to work with them on developing a plan for the semester. I guarantee it'll be a great experience if you have that interaction with a company and you can provide them a plan that will be of great value for them. So here's what you're going to do. There's 5 components of this project. The first is that you're going to identify a brand or product that would benefit from an integrated marketing communication strategy. Secondly, you're going to work with the business to uncover some marketing or business objectives that they have. Perhaps it's growing their sales. Maybe they're trying to recover from being shut down from the pandemic. It could be, searching for people to sell their product or creating a new revenue stream or entering a new market. So your goal is to identify the business objective, because then what we will do is the third thing: create a comprehensive integrated marketing communication strategy and a plan, including aligning your objectives and strategies specifically to that business goals. You're going to look at create an executive summary, a situation analysis, business objectives, marketing goals, segmentation, targeting, and positioning, digital marketing strategy. You're going to create a budget and a time schedule, and then you're going to wrap it up with key performance indicators. So that's what you're going to do for your task. As you embark on creating the elements for this plan, I want you to keep in mind that you are a marketing consultant. As you design this communication plan, your target audience is the business decision maker in the organization. So think about that in the way you frame the tone of the way you create your documents, the way you visualize things. Sometimes executives don't have the longest attention span because they're busy people. So think about that. We're not writing a long academic document. We're writing a document that is going to be usable and easy to consume for the decision maker to be able to pick and choose perhaps what parts of the strategy that they will want to work on. So let me talk about each of the components of the final deliverable you will have for this project. The first is an executive summary. The executive summary is a snapshot of everything that you have in the plan. Oftentimes it may be just a few paragraphs or 1 page. It needs to be concise. Oftentimes this will be bullet points, but you're going to take all of the different components that you've laid out in the plan and summarize it so that as an executive or as a business owner, I can pick up the document, look at the executive summary, and see those key pieces of information that are most valuable to me. Maybe I want to dig in a little bit further and go through the document, but it's a nice, concise summary of the information that they will need to know. So that is the first thing. Then we're going to start off with a situation analysis. Now, the situational analysis is around the business problem that the firm has. So you're going to ask them about their objectives and you're going to create a problem. Maybe the problem they have right now is the difficulty of obtaining revenue in the world that we live in, a world in a pandemic. Maybe it's customer retention. Perhaps it's acquiring new customers. So you're going to wrap up what those goals and objectives are and where the company is today. So it's kind of, again, a little snapshot of where is the company? Who are their competitors? How are they dealing with some of the external factors? What do their customers think of them? It's a good summary for you to have in one complete situation analysis. As I mentioned before, you're going to have the goals and business objectives. So one of the biggest misses that marketing communications often has is they might get wrapped up in a deliverable or a campaign, and at the end of the day sort of lose sight of what that overall picture is. What is the business objective? So we have this saying in marketing called the proof is in the pudding. So marketing and communications in general can be relatively expensive, not just in money, but in terms of time and resources to create content. Even if you're using a free medium, it will take time and resources to create the strategy. So it's important for us to be able to answer the question when we're done with our marketing campaign is, if the business owner had asked you, how successful was the campaign? You want to be able to tie back to that original objectives. The last thing you want is for somebody to say, wow, we spent $5,000 or $10,000 on a campaign. What happened? Did you turn the needle? Did we get a return on our investment? So this is why it's really important for us to upfront be clear on the business objectives. And sometimes there's things like brand awareness or customer satisfaction that may not be as measurable as some of the things we would do in a demand generation campaign. So it's very clear that up front you will describe to the client, here is what the objectives are and here's how we're going to measure them. All right, so that's business objectives and campaign goals. Then you're going to have segmentation, targeting, and positioning. Now, we don't use the old-fashioned spray and pray method. We want to demonstrate that to the client that we understand your best segments to go after in terms of reaching that goal. And then once we know the groups of people, we're going to hone in on targeting those that are most likely to meet that business objective that we have. And then we also are going to create positioning statements or statements of value to each of those different target audiences, because in some cases they could be very different. What I see in value could be very different of somebody in the Gen Z generation, or maybe somebody in a different part of the world. So once we have all of those strategic things outlined, then we start working on the digital marketing strategy. And this is meant to be the meat of your paper. You're going to discuss the recommendations that you're going to build, that you're going to create based on those goals. And one thing that's important to note about pulling this together is we will have assignments throughout the course, I call them building blocks, that will help, you will work on this client's assignment, initiative, or this piece of the project as you are working through the assignment. So after we have all of these different components complete, you should be able to wrap them up in a nice bow and make it part of this overall plan. So that is an important thing to note as well. So there's the digital marketing strategy. You're also going to create a budget. So you're going to select the different mediums you're going to use. We're going to have key messages based on the segmentations. You're going to pull together some creative assets, make some either create a website or make some recommendations on the web presence that the client has today. And you are going to create a time schedule for a campaign, generally a quarter or a year, and then you're going to come up with a recommended budget. And then finally, we are going to provide how we are going to measure the success of this integrated marketing communication plans. So you're going to look through a number of different key performance indicators. You're going to talk about Google Analytics and how you're going to track success of their digital marketing programs, and you're going to demonstrate that proof is in the pudding. So finally, as you wrap it up, you're going to have a closing paragraph as well. So when you think about the overall communication plan, those are the most important parts of the plan, and the instructions that I have within Canvas will walk you through that quite clearly. That's a written portion of the marketing communication plan. Now, one thing that's really fun to note and something that you should think about is you could create this beautiful document or you could create a plan, but as I mentioned earlier, executives don't have a lot of time or energy to sit and listen to you or read through an entire document. So the next part of this overall assignment is what I call the video pitch. You're going to take your plan, you're going to pitch it to the client via video. So that will be a professional video that you pull together, and then you are going to pitch it. We're going to be your client. As those of us in the class, we're going to give you some feedback, and then you can deliver that final piece to the client. But the goal is that you can very succinctly, like we did in the executive summary, pull out those things that are most important and present it to us in a pitch fashion. Because when you're doing a communication plan, your goal is to get the funding to take it to the next level. So that's what the pitch is about. So those are the deliverables for your presentation. Now I want to tell you about my role. This is an active learning class, and part of what we're going to do is work on these building blocks to get you toward this final project throughout the course. My role as a professor is to mentor you. Take advantage of my knowledge and experience, and if you're having challenges working with your teammates or working with your clients, I'm here to help you out. That's my role, is to help consult you as you are consulting the client that you'll be working for. So let's talk about grading. Grading is this is a signature project. This is a big component of your overall grade. So the written paper itself is worth 100 points. The video pitch is 25 points, and peer feedback, meaning the groups that you're working with will be worth 50 points. Now, I forgot to talk about how you want to approach this project, so I will do that now. This is a large class, and with that, I recommend that with the size or the amount of work that you have to get done for this project, that you work in teams of perhaps 3 or 4. I'm not going to assign teams. That will be up to you. So at the beginning of the semester, we are going to brainstorm some different companies for you to use, and I want you to think about who what your interests are and the fit of people you work with, and attempt to pull this together in groups of teams. Clearly, most of the teamwork will have to be done either during class time or in virtually outside of class with the constraints that we have with social distancing and things like that. So keep that in mind. If you feel very strongly that there's confidentiality issues, or you're working with your a client and you want to work on your own, perhaps you've got health concerns, let me know. I will allow you to work on your own plan or work as a team. However, please keep in mind that there's a significant amount of work to be done, and having people to bounce ideas off of in a marketing context is really great. You'll certainly have me. You can brainstorm with people during class, but I think it's pretty important for you to think strongly about at least partnering with one other person from the class. However, if that's not going to work for you, let me know, and I will be sure that it's okay to work on this as an individual. So the grading is in the instructions, it's in Canvas under the assignment, and as I mentioned, we're going to be chunking this along in small bite-sized building blocks. Some are pretty big bite-sized building blocks, but I think you'll enjoy this project, and I promise you're going to walk away with a beautiful document that will either help you win the business of a client, or perhaps get a marketing strategy that you've been wanting to do for your employer, or it's a really wonderful piece for you to have as you start to interview for jobs. So please take a look at the instructions, refer back to the video if you needed. Let me know if you have any questions on the assignment, and we will surely be working on this in class. We'll be doing some brainstorming, and I promise this will be one of the most exciting and fun projects that you'll have here in our marketing program.